journalism continues to evolve, and our guest today has had a front row seat to those changes. The chairman of the board of the New York Times Company, Arthur Sulzberger Jr., is visiting Madison today and joining us here on Live at 4. Welcome.
Nice to see you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Sulzberger served as publisher of the New York Times from 1992 to 2017, and now his son, A.G. Sulzberger, leads the paper in the same role. I understand he's the fifth generation?
Fifth generation of the Sulzberger family. Wow. Since 1896.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yes, it is. It's quite a compliment to the family and the commitment that my family has had to the mission of the New York Times.
Arthur, let's talk about the state of journalism in 2018.
Okay.
Some people feel like this is going to be a defining moment for journalism and journalists. Mm-hmm. And others feel like the trust is eroding in the press, and that people are more frequently turning to partisan sources for their information, and that the democracy is in real peril. Right. Where do you see it?
I see it a little bit of both. That there's no question that the trust in journalism has eroded. There's no question that the level of partisanship has risen dramatically, and we can blame everything from the internet to just our society at this moment. But we've been in this place before in this country, and I have great faith in the citizens of the United States and in our ability to come back together again.
I was going to say that we've been here before.
Yes, we have.
Journalism, the muckrakers and distrust of the print media, and we made it through.
And we made it through. And that's because our society splits, and then it comes back together. And some of us will remember what it was like in the 60s, given the race issues and the war in Vietnam. Your famous senator, Joe McCarthy, and McCarthyism, a time of tremendous split. So I just have faith that we will come back together, but it doesn't mean it's hard. It isn't hard. It is hard. And we have to maintain our integrity. And that's the challenge for all of us in the world of journalism, to cover the real world honestly.
We have been here before, but it does feel like this is a more challenging time for journalists than it has been in recent memory.
Yes.
For example, President Trump yesterday tweeted that a story in the New York Times about the North Korean missile sites was inaccurate. He called it fake news. How do you respond to that, and how is the public to deduce the truth in that environment?
The way we respond to it is, one, we have to cover it, because he is doing that, and he is the President of the United States. And then we have to say, okay, here's what we reported, and here's why we reported it. And we have to have the conversation. And the joy of the digital era is, while it has certainly changed the business model of journalism in a dramatic way, and a very tough way for local journalism in particular, it does enable to have a broader conversation about what's happening, and a more intimate conversation. And that's the power of the digital era. We also have to have faith that that as long as we maintain our mission, we will be at a good place. But we can't become divisive. We have to be part of the answer.
And the president had a fiery confrontation with CNN's Jim Acosta. He subsequently lost his press pass to the White House. And it was pulled. Right. That's pretty. It's historic.
No, actually, it's there 3 times this has happened.
Well,
this is the third.
course of history is not very often.
Just so you know, the last 2 times it went to court, and both times the press pass was returned. And this is going to go to court again. As you know, the CNN has filed.
Is it an affront to the First Amendment?
Of course it is. And there's no question about that. Look, this is a tough time to be a journalist. Internationally, it's terrifying. The number of journalists who have been killed is remarkable. I always thought that the most dangerous time to be a journalist was in the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, and that was incredibly dangerous. But I think it's even more dangerous now. And look what happened in Turkey. Right? But even in this country, we've had people go into newsrooms and shoot up the newsrooms. I mean, it's just, we have to reflect on that. This is a tough time. But I have great faith in journalists. We're tough people. And we're going to make our way through this. But let's keep the vision on, on maintaining our mission. Honestly.
The business is changing, digital. It's a digital world now. And I think sometimes people have a discomfort with journalism being a business that serves the public interest. But that is sort of the reality that we're living in, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is.
But how do you restore faith that you're not just trying to get more clicks?
I think the only way to bring back the faith is, one, to help the country reunite, and that means maintaining our mission. That's the core.
And providing context.
Always context. Yeah, it's tough. And it's tough because for many news organizations, newspapers in particular, the number of journalists is now half of what it was 15 years ago. The business model has gone through tremendous damage. Some, like the New York Times, have been able to move to a new business model that's not about the advertising, but rather about the circulation. I mean, we now have 4 million paid subscribers, 3 million digital, 1 million print, rough numbers.
That's quite remarkable.
That's remarkable. Never in the history of newspapers have we seen that kind of number. But that's because we are now a national/international brand. I do worry about local journalism in particular.
And through all of this and all the turmoil, there's no other path you'd have taken.
Well, when you say path, what do you mean?
Journalism.
Oh, personally speaking, I think when I was 7, I wanted to be a cop. With that one exception, I love journalism, yeah. I love being a reporter, I love being an editor, and then moving to the business side and realizing that that's just all part of the mission. Yeah.
Well, best of luck to you and the New York Times and to journalism.
Thank you, and it's a delight to be here, so thank you both for this moment. And
we appreciate it.
Welcome to Madison, Arthur. Great to see you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
We'll be right back.